What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bill Bronze and Dragons. I'm your host, Bill Bron Bafflestone. So today we're having another episode of my Simple Build series, where I present to you a strong and playable build concept without the intense number crunching or analysis that was the hallmark of my previous builds. The build I want to present to you today is actually being played by a friend and Patreon supporter of mine named Ice, and he's playing it on a new Westmarch server that we've both joined called the New Dawn Coalition. I talked about this Westmarch server in my previous video. I'm impressed by it, and I encourage you to join it and play with us. If you're interested, all of the relevant information will be in the video description below. It would be a cool way to get more D&D into your life. In any case, this build that Ice is playing is a combat medic, and it is a pure martial, a rogue/thief. So very impressive and strong healing abilities, even though it doesn't use any magic, and so I'm excited to show it to you. Without further ado, let's jump right in and take a look at Zerak, the combat medic. So Zerak is a combat medic, and the build concept is that there will be no magic on this character. We can discuss some deviations later, but for the moment the build concept is no magic. So this is going to be a pure martial, and the class is rogue. So rogues get a pretty strong slate of abilities. I've put them up on the screen so we can easily reference them, but they do a lot of damage through sneak attack and steady aim. They are very sneaky with cunning action. They're hard to hurt with evasion and uncanny dodge, and they're strong in the interaction phase with all of these skills and expertises and reliable talent. For our subclass, we are going with Thief. And thieves get a slate of impressive abilities as well, specifically fast hands, which is kind of key to our build concept here, as well as use magical device and thief's reflexes, which are not necessarily critical to this build, but they are extremely impressive and powerful abilities that we will talk about here in a little bit. For his race, Zerak will be a variant human to give him a starting feat and an extra skill. No dark vision though, which is something of a downside. But in any case, the starting stats will be Strength 8, Dex 16, Constitution 16, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 10, and Charisma 14, with starting skills Stealth, Perception, Acrobatics, Persuasion, Deception, Intimidation, Athletics, and Cook's Utensils. This character gets a lot of skills because rogues start with 4, and then humans get 1, and you get 2 from your background. As we mentioned, this character will get expertise in 4 different skills, so at first level he'll get expertise in Stealth and Perception, since those are some of the strongest skills in the game. Check out my recent video on skills tier list to see my opinion about all of the different skills. Then at 6th level we'll be adding expertise in Acrobatics and Persuasion. For our feats at level 1 we're going to be adding Healer. Then at 4th level we'll be adding Inspiring Leader, which we will be reskinning to Painkillers that take 10 minutes to onset. Then at 8th level we'll be adding Dex plus 2, at 10th level we'll be adding Dex plus 2, at 12th level we'll add Lucky, at 16th level Alert, and at 19th level Martial Adept for Quick Toss and Maneuvering Attack. So a fairly simple selection of feats. What sort of playable synergies are we going to get from those feats? Well, first of all, we get Fast Hands plus Healer plus the Healing Kit, which is going to be one of our main shticks and is going to allow us to use our bonus action to heal our allies and to automatically pick them up when they are unconscious. Right away, that is pretty sweet. On top of that, we will get to use our Fast Hands with combat objects like caltrips, ball bearings, and poisons, which is pretty standard for a thief. But keeping in mind that this is a combat medic build, we are also going to be using our fast hands with medical objects. For example, antitoxin, willow shade oil, wild root, mango leaves, ryath root, black sap. Right? There's a lot of pretty cool items that you can use with this ability and that are appropriate for a combat medic. Antitoxin gives you advantage on poison saves for an hour. Willow shade oil will allow you to reverse petrification. Wild root moves poison. Mango leaves heals. Ryath root confers temporary hit points. Black sap makes you immune to charm and frightened. So these are things that it's our very concept to be carrying and using with our bonus action on our party members. We're also going to be able to use the healer feat plus our cook's utensils proficiency plus inspiring leader to get huge hit point buffs for our party on every short rest. We also have a strong charisma of 14, plus good charisma skills, including expertise and persuasion, and we get reliable talent. So we are going to be a more than viable party face. Then Lucky, which we add at 12th level, is going to improve our chances to land a sneak attack. Going to combo with Slippery Mind, because when you have a bonus to a saving throw, then it's a lot nicer to be able to have a reroll on it. And it's going to help us stick our skills. And then finally, Martial Adept is going to allow us to use Thief's Reflexes plus Quick Toss to get a triple sneak attack in a round once per short rest. That's pretty cool. And in fact, we could work Martial Adept in earlier if we want a double sneak attack, and it's really important to you. Alright, so some observations about this build. It has a huge impact in early and middle tiers because of the big healing and hit point buff potential. At level 4, a 5-member party is going to average over 60 hit points of healing and 30 temporary hit points per short rest. That is a huge 50 to 60% bump to durability that is going to be very welcome in the party and very strong in terms of buffing the party. Note also that the healing kit can bring up allies from unconscious repeatedly. There is no once per short rest limitation on that part of the healer feat. It's only for the straight up healing part. So this is considerably stronger than a spell-based healing list in the first parts of the game. You just don't get enough slots to be able to create this kind of healing and protection, and it holds up well as you level. And the great thing about this healing is that virtually no resources are consumed. I mean, yeah, charges from a healing kit, but that's really cheap, right? You can have a whole bunch of those for hardly any money at all. And so you'll be able to do this repeatedly. You're only limited by the short rest, and you're not limited by the short rest on picking up your party members. So just over and over and over, you can bring them up to 1 from unconscious with that healer's kit. That is amazing. And while these feats do start to pale in comparison to some of the higher level healing spells available to magical healers, both of these feats scale with level. So the fall off in higher tiers is marginal. It's going to be helpful throughout the entire career of this character, no matter what tier he and his party are playing. Also, one thing I've noticed about Inspiring Leader is that people forget that it's only a 6 creature limit per speech. If you want to cover more than 6, you can just give another speech. In combat, this character is going to be executing typical rogue combat, mostly steady aim plus the light crossbow to land that sneak attack, plus occasionally some melee action using bonus action disengage with cunning action. And of course, during combat, we're going to be using fast hands, because being able to deploy combat and medical objects as a bonus action actually makes them feasible in combat. These are items that are just not worth spending your action for, but they are worth spending your bonus action for. And also that use magical device that they get at level 13 is a very exciting ability in a West March format, where you have some control over the items. So you can get really powerful wizard items or whatever that allow you to cast spells, and you can still use those. And you can use them on scrolls. Sage Advice says that rules as intended, it works with scrolls. So that's pretty wicked. To be able to use scrolls is really, really strong. And then if you get the right items, when you hit level 17 and get that amazing Thief's Reflexes, which is so good, to be able to get 2 turns in the first round, oh man, that is good. You're going to be pulling off double spell combos and stuff, just like a high-level wizard, if you have the right items with this ability. I am very, very impressed with Use Magical Device and Thief's Reflexes. Now note that the rogue typically doesn't get anything back on a short rest, so by adding Healer and Inspiring Leader, which recharge on a short rest, that actually feels pretty good, right? It's kind of nice to get something back on a short rest. Finally, do note that because this PC has a high charisma, you could work in a charisma-based 1-level dip if you want. It's just that this build concept is no magic, but I'm not going to argue with you if you want to add a level of Divine Soul Sorcerer, or Celestial Warlock, or Hexblade, or Genie Lock. All those make sense, and can be thematic, so do what you want. But if you don't want to add any of those things, this is a perfectly viable, no magic, complete martial build. So that's it. That is the character that my friend Ice is playing on New Dawn Coalition, Zarak, a combat medic that is a pure martial and manages to heal pretty darn well, even though he has no magic. Let me know what you think of the build in the comments below, and regardless, thank you so much for watching. This has been Bill Bronze and Dragons. I'm your host, Bill Bron Bafflestone. See you next time.